Stop the retaliation. Stop the hanging nooses. Stop the retaliation.
Daryle Washington claims a fellow worker placed a hanging noose on top of a black employee's personal belongings. That worker was suspended for 6 days, but when he came back, Washington says the harassment continued. He's upset the city never investigated the 2-year-old incident.
When you have something that symbolizes hate like that, that's a problem. There is no joke there. There is nothing to be taken lightly. There's nothing to be taken as if it's funny.
Washington is suing Recology for discrimination and retaliation. In a statement ABC 7 News, Recology says, quote, no bullying has been reported or witnessed by anyone, and there has been no retaliation of any kind. The company added that the offending employee was disciplined.
We're at San Francisco General. A lot of the African-American employees there are not happy. They're being harassed on the job, they're being bullied on the job, they're being treated differently, and nothing seems to happen. We get told it's not illegal. It is not illegal to harass black employees. It is not illegal for an employer to only hire people who look like them. All these things are happening and nothing's being done. And so I'm totally in support of Daryle. We've been working on this for a long time, and it's time, we're building up our critical mass, and so we want to make an environment in the San Francisco a progressive city. That's what they tell us, is progressive. That things like this should not be going on in San Francisco and nobody doing anything about it. We've all talked to politicians, we've all talked to different people, and still nothing. Campos put one thing on there. He did put something on there, a proclamation, but it had no teeth. So we need something stronger to protect the workers in San Francisco from workplace bullying. It's not acceptable no matter where it is, and no matter who it is, and no matter what level it's coming from, or whether it's from the bottom up or the top down. It shouldn't be tolerated, and so we're here to say no more.
I'm here just because the kind of attack that's happening to City College is an attack on poor and working people, and for people to be mistreated any place on their job. I'm appalled that I live in San Francisco and that something like this happens and that something isn't done about it immediately. And the fact that Daryle would be retaliated against just completely blows my mind. That proves I wasn't prepared to say anything. But as a teacher who's lived and worked in this city for 40 years, it breaks my heart to see what's been happening to communities of color. And there's no excuse for it in town. And I'm glad there's going to be a rally on City Hall. And I really, as part of the Labor Council, I will really want to advocate for labor getting behind this so this kind of thing doesn't happen in the workplace. At least that's one place we can try to begin to stop it. Every place we need to try to stop it. But I'm glad that's happening. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Desiana Thomas. I'm a long-time Bayview resident. My family's been here for a few generations, actually. So I grew up in this neighborhood. And I'm also a Black woman leader as a part of the Comrades of Color Caucus, which is a part of the Freedom Socialist Party and Radical Women. And I met Daryle. He came and spoke with us, and I was taken aback by his leadership, not only fighting back against the racism in the workplace and saying that he's not going to take it no matter what, especially because it was used as a fear tactic. As Brenda mentions, it happens all the time in other different ways, in harassment ways as well. It's a fear tactic against people of color in the workplace and the poor working in the workplace. But also taken aback by his leadership to also fight for his coworkers who may feel that fear and be fearful of fighting back, and he's taking it on for them, which is a strong and admirable thing to do. So I myself wanted to definitely come out and represent for Daryle for doing such a great job and standing up and be a part of supporting him as well, because it's not an easy duty. And I just wanted to point out once again that this is something that is constantly used as fear to keep people from fighting back, not just in terms against the racism, but fighting back against awful work conditions and the way that people are mistreated, low wages. And so we must remember that this is, as a lot of people brought up, also a labor issue combined with racism, and they also use sexism as well. And so just remembering that this is a tactic and it's systematic and it's used intentionally so people don't fight back. So I'm glad to see people coming out and doing so. Thank you.
I'm Al with the Kenneth Harding Jr. Foundation. I know Daryle through the work we do. I come across the Bay. We do a community feed in the Bayview at the spot where Kenneth Harding Jr. lost his life, and Daryle has always helped out, and a lot of the community has helped out too. So I'm doing this in solidarity with Daryle. And I want to emphasize black and brown unity, so I'm doing this as a Chicano.
So now we're going to have our speaker who was the one that was bullied, the one that was a whistleblower and spoke up about this. Welcome, Daryle Washington.
Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. I apologize for not being here. The media was asking me a few questions here. It's amazing how this type of situation just continues to go on and on and on and on. I mean, they have not still even yet come out to even offer some form of, okay, look, if you want a policy change, let's try to change the policy. They haven't come out and said, hey, look, if you all felt like, we should apologize, let's apologize because what we did was wrong. It just gets to the point where, what is the problem? What is the issue? Why are they just so stubborn, so arrogant? Just recently, on Friday, I contacted Mayor Ed Lee via email. I contacted all of our supervisors, and I contacted our Sheriff Mercarini, in an email. In the email, I basically blasted them, letting them know what was going on, and the fact that them remaining silent was unacceptable. I know that some of you here, Barb, I know that you reached out to, was it Malia Cohen, who basically told her that she had no knowledge of it, which is a lie. I just showed Barbara that I have email, or actually a Facebook post, or not post, but a Facebook instant message to Malia Cohen, letting her know of what was going on. This was last year in August. City government knows. I actually saw Sheriff Mercarini at another meeting, what is that meeting called, Steve? The one we're at on Market Street?
Labor Council.
Labor Council, thank you. Labor Council last month. And I showed him, in July, and I showed him a flyer for the rally that we were having in July 28th, I believe it was. And he said that he had heard about it. Okay, so you heard about it. But yet you have not reached out or contacted anyone to discuss it, to find out more information about it. So that's a problem for me. To always continuously hold a blind eye or sweep things under the rug or act as if you don't know that something is happening is a major problem. And in all actuality, we really can't have city officials, mayors, supervisors in office having that sort of behavior. This morning, or actually yesterday morning, I contacted the regional vice president of the Teamsters Union via email, and it pretty much is the same blasting. He sent me a message back at 5 a.m. this morning. I don't know why he was up that early, but he sent me a message back at 5 a.m. this morning. I don't know if he was thinking about me all night or thinking of a proper response. I don't know. But his response was that he had no knowledge of what had happened, what was going on, but he was going to get to the bottom of it. He was going to contact the Antonio Christian, who is on the Human Rights Board for the Teamsters, and that he would get back to me sometime later today, or later on I'd be hearing from him. It's just a bit much that, we still have to even have rallies and do this sort of thing. Enough is enough, really. All that I have ever wanted, even though some people have accused me of, trying to get money, the reporters just asked me, what is it that I want? And I explained to them, I want policy changed here at Recology, and I want them to offer an apology, not just to myself, but to all of the employees that are here behind what happened and them botching their own rules and regulations behind something like this. The money part of it, I don't have anything to do with that. My lawyer is actually here today. He's standing over here, Stanley Goff. I let him handle that part of it. That's not my fight. My fight is to get justice for the workers and myself. And also now, I'm propelled to help other workers in San Francisco, the Bay Area, and really throughout the country. And you know, it's a hell of a journey. I'm thankful. You know, I just want to fight and stand up for the workers, stand up for what's right, stand up for Black Lives Matter, because they do matter. You know, and they matter on jobs just as well. Not just only when, you know, police officers kill us, but also on jobs too, when we're trying to make an honest living to feed our families and feed our children and take care of, you know, our basic necessities in life. You know, I've spoken so much, you know, throughout the last few months. I'm a man of little words now. I don't really have a lot more to say. I mean, the story, it is what it is. You know, the only thing that I hope is that, you know, Recology will basically, in my own words, will get the head out of their ass and stop being so damn arrogant and make things right. And that's all that we're asking for, and all that we have been asking for. You know, make it right. Stop with the foolishness and stop denying. You have other black workers that work here, male and female. They deserve justice just like I deserve justice.
All right.
And I want to thank you all for coming. I appreciate you all. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Marcus Ward. I'm a longtime employee of Recology. I started here at Recology in the early 80s. It was quite difficult. The company at the time, Sunset Scavenger, was under consent decree that they had to hire African Americans. I believe I was one of the last few that came in under that policy. And it pains me to stand here today after 33 years of service. It really pains me to have to watch this type of thing. I've asked the company what's the position on this, and they kind of storm me out a little bit and not really give me an answer about it. But I find also a big crime is that I've been here 33 years, me and my co-workers, and I've talked to several of all nationalities and of all colors, and nobody knows about this. And that's the hard part. Recology has several meetings every month for the drivers, the professionals, safety. And at not any time was I even aware of anything like this. They never mentioned it at any of their meetings at all. And I'm quite shocked about it, and I'm hurt about it. I'm also angry about it. But I'm angry in a way because I have a feeling for this company that I think things should be done the right way. There should be a air of transparency. And as was mentioned before, I believe Recology is, if not the largest single subcontractor in San Francisco.
Right.
And I do think there should be some accountability and some kind of transparency when these things happen.
Right.
You know, there's ways to handle these things. You know, I also believe that I'm sure with the support of all our co-workers and things like that, there's a lot of people here of all colors, my Mexican co-workers, my white co-workers. They don't support this type of thing either. They definitely speak up about this noose hanging incident. It's a terrible thing. And I just wish going forward, I wish the company would understand that what this means. As I mentioned, my mom, I may have mentioned, my mom's from Jackson, Mississippi. My father's from Monroe, Louisiana. I know all well what a hanging noose means.
Right.
It's a death threat.
Right.
And that's how I see it. And with that being, it should be taken seriously. We should be, they should be promoting honesty, coming forward and letting not just the workers here, but everyone know that this type of thing won't be tolerated at Recology, at any of our Recology subsidiaries either, you know. And I just want to say that and let Daryle know that that I understand, and that though I'm here today, there's many people who support of all colors and nationalities. They're in support of this. They want an air of transparency here at Recology. They want to be able to, hold their head up with pride and say they're an employee here, instead of holding their head down with shame, by withstanding and enduring workplace bullying, some of which I've withstood and actually going through some of it right now myself. But that being said, that's not why we're here today. But I did want to let Daryle know. Told him I would be here today, and I'm here today to support it.
No, go ahead, brother. Speak on that. Speak on what you got. It's not just about me. This is us. It's all of us. It's not me. It's not mine. It's not for me. It's all of us.
We seem to have a manager who he just doesn't seem to really have any respect for the black workers here at Recology. Constant verbal abuse, belligerence, profanity, had become almost daily. Some have decided to leave the department and just go elsewhere and work, because they just didn't want to stand up to them. But when you find you stand up, they try to knock you down.
That's right.
They threaten you with time changes. You notice that you don't have access to the overtime as equally, in little subtle ways like that. So we began to stand up, and we took it to management. And like I said before, it's actually, I'm a little bit ashamed to say this, but it seems like it was the victim's fault. Right. We bring this to management. Right. They investigate. And the last thing I wanted to do was to play, as they say, the race card.
Right.
But I knew that this investigation, if it was done with any any bit of just being thorough and any insight, would reveal that. But according to them in their investigation, that I and another coworker, a black coworker, were the only ones who have the problem. Wow. So they did talk to some other black coworkers who told them they had the problem, but they admitted that from their investigation. Wow. So, and that's exactly what transpired. And some of the other black coworkers who spoke with him, when I went back to them, they told me that, well, that's not what I told him. But it is what it is, But we're standing in solidarity. It's growing. It's a small crowd out here today, but I can see it'll be growing. That's right. As long as they want to continue with this type of policy instead of standing up. They have such a great opportunity. Such a diverse workforce here. They have such a great opportunity to stand up and really be an example of how things should be.
That's right.
But to have nearly 1,000 workers, or 1,500 workers here totally with Recology, and very few of us know about this workplace Noose, it's not by accident. Right. It has to be by design.
My name is Stanley Goff. I'm attorney for Daryle Washington. I just want to thank you all for coming out and showing Daryle support regarding this issue. It's a very important issue. We're talking about a noose being placed in the workplace regarding around someone in 2015 in San Francisco, California. This is not Mississippi. This is not Tennessee. This is not Arkansas. And even in those places, that would be unacceptable. That's right. So we have to address this. And I'm surprised that officials from the mayor's office and from the San Francisco political elite are not out here to give Mr. Washington support, considering that this is supposed to be a city of amnesty, a city that promotes racial tolerance. And why they're not out here when Recology has one of the biggest contracts with the city of San Francisco, I have no idea. But I would like to know. That's right. Again, thank you very much.
This is really pretty remarkable. Here we are in San Francisco, in Georgia. The heart of the Confederacy. They were compelled to take down the Confederate flag from buildings and all over the South. And here we are in San Francisco in the year 2015, where we took down the Confederate flag, by the way, back in the 1980s when Dianne Feinstein had it up at the City Hall. And here we have this kind of a scene. And it's not the first time this has happened. It's not the last time, I'm afraid, unless we do something about it, it's going to happen. I remember 4 or 5 years ago, mostly down in LA, the longshoremen faced an absolute epidemic of nooses, the symbol of the Ku Klux Klan, the symbol of the subjugation of black people in America, being hung up, being hung up in work locations on the docks. And what we need to see is you have a situation, as we all know, black people being pushed out of San Francisco. But although black people are being pushed out in San Francisco, the buses are driven by Muni drivers who are union, most of whom are black. The economy of the Bay Area is dependent on the work of the longshoremen, Local 10, most of whom are black. The public workers who make city government go, like in the SEIU, a huge number of them are not white. In a situation like this, how can this sort of thing even be possible? What we need is a broad mobilization through the unions of the black workforce, the powerful black workforce of the Bay Area, to put a stop to this kind of thing. And what should the Teamsters be doing? Well, the first thing they should do is the guy who pulled this off should be kicked out of the Teamsters. He's not a union brother. He's a traitor to the union cause. It's regrettable that the Teamster leadership clearly doesn't understand this. But what's needed at this point is for, I missed the speech beforehand. What we don't need is so much pressuring this company to do right. Of course they don't do right. They're in the business of making a profit. Let's have no hope. What needs to be done is that the unions need to stand together, and we need to have a mobilization. I'll tell you, the Muni Union can put a stop to San Francisco any day of the week by just shutting down, and the longshoremen could put a stop to the economy in the Bay Area. When you had a longshore situation a year or two ago, you had national panic going all the way up to Obama. There's a huge impact on the American economy. So working people have power, and black working people have power, and that fist needs to be brandished and exercised, and that's the way we can put a stop to this kind of stuff. Thank you.
Nellie Wong.
Thank you. I'm here to support Daryle and his co-workers against the racist Noose hanging. This is intolerable. In this climate of racism, just as we've seen in all the uprisings of Black Lives Matter and other groups protesting police brutality on their killing of young black and brown men, and then women too. It's important that we all stand together to not only protest and demonstrate, but to try to change things in this society so that things will be better. It makes me think of Strange Fruit and all the racist history that this country has gone through. And in this day and age, in 2015, that there are depictions of nooses at a place like Recology is unacceptable, and we will fight against this wherever we go. So come on out whenever these things are going on, and let's fight to change the system so that racism and sexism is no longer a part and parcel of this and all the communities in the United States. We need to make things better, and fighting back is the way to do it. Thank you.
On October the 19th, is part of a week-long events around the country against workplace bullying. And what we're saying is that the SEIU 1021 has agreed to sponsor this, help sponsor it, and city workers, public workers have been bullied for a long time. They've been scapegoated. The transit workers in San Francisco, Muni 250 have been bullied. They were bullied by Mayor Newsom, who had a witch hunt against the transit workers because they wouldn't take concessions on their contract. He harassed them and bullied. It was really a racist campaign against the African-American majority bus drivers in San Francisco that was conducted. And this bullying, workplace bullying, is, again, not isolated. So on October the 19th, there's going to be a rally at City Hall against workplace bullying, and we're going to tie the workplace bullying to this incident at San Francisco Recology, because the city and county of San Francisco have a responsibility to do oversight on how San Francisco Recology is run. And when incidents like hanging nooses are put up, and Recology keeps, not only does Recology keep it a secret and not let people know, not let the public know, and not let the workers know. The workers here didn't even know about this racist incident, and the company kept it a secret. Why? Well, Daryle can talk about that, because one of the person that did it had a relative who was sleeping with a manager here, and there's a lot of cronyism that is going on at this company, and that's one of the reasons that no action was taken to really deal with this issue in a serious way. And this cronyism and attack on human rights is something that has to be stopped. And what we're going to be doing at this rally on the 19th at City Hall is we're going to tie together the epidemic of workplace bullying with union busting that's going on against workers. The other thing I wanted to announce is that on October the 5th is World Teachers Day. around the world. And we are going to be having a rally and press conference at Mark Zuckerberg's house in San Francisco. He's a multimillionaire, because Zuckerberg has spent millions of dollars trying to break unions and segregating schools in New Jersey and other places around the country. These billionaires, tech billionaires, say they want to take over our education system. And part of their plan to take over the education system is to terrorize and bully public school teachers and to fire them. And that's what they did in New Orleans. They fired thousands of teachers, public school teachers, and they destroyed the public education system in New Orleans in a racist attack, because now education in New Orleans is much worse than it was when they had public schools. And what we're saying is that this racism, this bullying, this terrorism against African American workers is something that has to end. We're saying that it has to stop, and the way it's going to stop, part of the way it's going to stop, is when people speak up about it and people let people know that this is unacceptable. That's what we're saying, and we believe that enough is enough. And you know, it's hard for Daryle to come out and speak publicly, because he wants to keep his job, he wants to feed his family, he has 3 kids. I mean, you know, having a family and being afraid and being terrorized, really, that if you speak up, you'll lose your job, you won't be able to feed your family. This is a serious issue. So we're saying it's time to speak up, it's time to support Daryle, it's time to say enough is enough. We're not going to have these kinds of incidents here at San Francisco Recology. And, you know, we are not going to go away. San Francisco Recology person was here trying to butter up the press and tell them, don't worry about it, it's not really serious. But in fact, it is serious. Otherwise, people wouldn't be out here on this hot day. That is serious, and it's something that is unacceptable, and something that we're not going to tolerate. And I know the workers here at San Francisco Recology would like to speak up, but they're afraid that if they do, they themselves will be intimidated, they'll be attacked. And that's why we're calling on IBT 350 and the Teamsters Union to take a stand on this. The Teamsters it's not tolerable by the union or the Labor Council. And Daryle has spoken to the Labor Council about his situation, and we plan to have a resolution about the situation here at San Francisco Recology. And also, we plan to have a tie this to the rally that we're going to have at City Hall. Where are the San Francisco city officials on this issue of hanging nooses in San Francisco? Where are they? Why the silence? Why are they afraid to respond to calls? Daryle sent them an email informing them about this incident, asking them for support. Silence. Silence. And this is unacceptable. They're supposed to represent the people of San Francisco. They have a legal responsibility to have hearings, to educate people. If they're hanging noose incidents in San Francisco, they have a responsibility to stop it, to educate people, to have a hearing on it, and to get to the bottom of why it's happening and why it's being covered up by San Francisco Recology. That's what we're talking about. There's a massive cover-up by San Francisco Recology of these hanging noose incidents, and the reason is because they were colluding with the racists to put this up. That's why. They were in bed with him, and they don't want people to know about it. And what we're saying is, you can't cover it up. You can't cover up hanging noose incidents. You can't cover up racist incidents. And what we're saying is that enough is enough, that this has got to stop. We're going to continue this fight. We're going to be going to the Labor Council for an endorsement of Daryle's fight. So the labor movement as a whole makes a clear statement about this. And also, we're going to be calling on the Teamsters, which represent here, Teamsters Local 350, and the Teamsters Joint Council to make a statement. They need to have a rally out here. The Teamsters have to take action. They have power in the Bay Area, and they cannot allow one of their members to be terrorized by a hanging noose and be silent about it. And Roman Royce, who's the regional vice president, he's the vice president of the Teamsters, says he's going to call Antonio Christian, who's the director of human rights for the Teamsters. So what we're saying here, put your money where your mouth is. You're saying that you're going to stand for the Teamsters. We want to see that. The Teamsters actually have the power to tell this company to rehire Daryle to end it. And they would do it. They're afraid of the Teamsters. Right. But the Teamsters have to stand up like all unions and say enough is enough, we're not going to accept that. And as we all know, on May 1st, the ILW Local 10 shut down the port of San Francisco to protest the racist terrorism and murder of blacks. And the workers have the power. They can stop this. That's what we have unions for, and that's what they should be doing.
Stop the hanging nooses.
Stop the retaliation. Stop the hanging nooses. Stop the retaliation.